All right, you ready to walk through this client attraction content system that's generating us around 2 to 5 quality inbound leads every single day? Around 10 to 15 quality human beings are landing in our inbox, are opting into our call to actions every single week. And this is 100% organically. And it takes about 4 hours, at least it takes me about 4 to 5 hours a week to create the content and to run this system. And this is without having to spam DMs or do 50 to 100 DMs a day, like a lot of the gurus still teach the old school 2020 tactics, you know? We're not running ads with this, and we're not posting tons and tons of content. And so if that sounds cool to you, then let's go ahead and dive on in. So real quickly, who this is for online fitness coaches, health coaches, coaches that actually care to impact people, and they want to have consistent results. You want to have more consistent inbound leads coming in, maybe calls on your calendar, clients and cash flow coming into your business. And again, you care about client results. You're not just in this to try to just make a little bit of money, which obviously we're business owners, it's important. You actually care about helping people. And this is not for you if you're not an online coach. A lot of the strategies I'm going to share with you and some of the tactical things just probably won't work as well for brick and mortars. The principles will, but the tactical things may not. And if you're a fluffluencer, like you care more about you being famous on the internet, but you don't really care about actually helping people, you're not gonna vibe with me, and so this is probably not gonna resonate with you as much. And so the little background here is I've tested about 11, maybe 12 strategies, and I found this one to be a clear winner. And as I alluded to, it's landing us around on average of 10 to 15 quality. And I want to emphasize that word. It's not hard to get leads these days, but quality human beings that are like dream clients, that is more challenging. And that's what this has done for us. And so my intention for this training is to give you what is working for us and for a lot of our clients in hopes that it helps you with your marketing. And so just to show you, these are different client examples posting, sending me messages and stuff like this. And this is one that literally just happened yesterday. And so this is crushing today. So the old school stuff, which we'll talk about, hopefully you're not doing a lot of the 2020 tactics anymore. You got to adapt and evolve with the times because the market is becoming more sophisticated and you have to as well. And so in this training, I'm going to not just share the content strategy with you, but the number one truth about getting a consistent flow of hot leads. Be able to book more calls if that's what you want to do, or at least be able to get more people into your program, and becoming in demand in your sub niche, becoming that sought after coach that people actually want to work with. And this truth is the single biggest difference between coaches who are struggling and having that inconsistency and coaches who make quote unquote doctor money. And then I'm going to walk you through the full content strategy, the whole thing. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. A full breakdown of exactly what I'm doing right now to wake up to inbound leads almost every single day. And so for those of you who are new to my world, I know you're here for the content strategy. Quick breakdown so you know who you're learning from. My name is Jason Milland, and over the last 12 years now, I built a gym in South Florida. I retired as a firefighter about in 2012. Then I built a gym in South Florida to over 300 members. We ended up serving thousands and thousands of people out there. Launched an online fitness program in 2019. And we're going to get into how I cracked the code, and so I'm going to give you the exact code. Been featured on shows like American Ninja Warrior. I have a family that I really care about and I love spending time with. Hence why I figured out a system to only have to actually operate around 4, maybe 5 hours a day. So I can actually spend time with my kiddos and, do fun stuff, the things that I love. Speaking, connecting with other like-minded entrepreneurs. And so needless to say, and let me actually bring you up here for this. It was probably, I'd say around 2000, end of 2020, 2021. I had sold the gym in the middle of COVID. Let's just say it was a fire sale. And I started to just go all in on my online business that I had started around 2019. And we had been bouncing between $5,000 and $15,000 per month. And it was okay, but I remember feeling like I had way more in the tank. And when you're stuck, you're stuck. And I remember feeling so freaking frustrated that I couldn't break through. I couldn't get through that barrier. And it got pretty stressful because I started hiring some team members. I had an assistant coach. I was bringing on some virtual assistants, and I was, at the time I was trying to spend money on ads because I was trying to crack the code. And I was literally DMing 50, 60, 70, sometimes up to 100 people a day because that's what my, business coach at the time told me to do. And I was exhausted and I was burning my audience out. And for a moment there, I was really stressed. I thought I was going to probably have to go get a sales job or maybe go start working as a trainer again at a gym to be able to provide for my family because it was too inconsistent and too unpredictable. And I remember, man, just thinking like, damn, I've got to figure this crap out. And one day I had made this post. I don't even know where my phone is. I made this post on social media without even thinking. It was what I would now call conversion content, and I'll show you some examples in a minute. And the next morning I woke up, and this was like later in the afternoon, and I woke up and I had hundreds of notifications, and I went into my messenger on Facebook and I had all of these DMs, these people reaching out to me asking information. And I was just like, what the heck? I literally thought something was broken or somebody hacked my account. But they didn't. It wasn't hacked. It was my post that did it. And so I started to study that post, and I was confused. I was like, what did I do that made all these results happen? And so, long story short, I tried another post similar, and again, it happened again. And then I did another post similar about a week later. And let's just say in that next 30 days from that first post, I had generated $33,383 in cash. I was just beside myself, and I had finally figured it out, man. And now over the last couple of years, I have like taken those concepts and those principles and I have evolved them into now what's called the client attraction content system. And I'm going to show you exactly how I've made it work and how it's working today in these times. But that is the story of how I accidentally cracked the code and didn't have to go and get a sales job. And so the number one truth, this is very important to get down, and then we're going to go into the content strategy. Because my friend, if you don't get this piece down here, you're going to struggle no matter what content or marketing things that you do. So the key to getting more inbound DMs, more book calls, and closing more clients is messaging. Not just more tactics, more DMs, more content, more ads. See, most coaches in general think that they need to do more content, more DMs, more challenges. But you've already seen that more volume doesn't work, likely, if you're watching this. Because the truth is simple, that you're saying the wrong message to the wrong people at the wrong time. And if you're doing that, you're going to either get crickets, or you're going to get a bunch of the wrong audience. This is why I worked with people, and I'll show you an example in just a second, that have hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram or Facebook, and they get millions of views sometimes, but they're making less than $10,000 a month because it's like they're saying such a generalized message and it's attracting the wrong audience. Take, for example, there was a fitness influencer that had over 625,000 followers. And there was my client who I'll use, Treyanka, who had, as you could see, 6.1 thousand followers, which is still pretty decent. Well, she was filling her calendar consistently, getting inbound leads from quality leads and hitting consistent $30,000 and up per month. And the difference is that she had her messaging dialed in. She was saying the right words in the right way to the right people, and then plugging that into the content system that we're about to go into. Because the truth is, the only way you're going to get the right people interested in your program is if you say the right words to them, things that resonate with them deeply. You could say the wrong words to the right people 1,000,000 times and they won't buy. But if you say the right thing in the right order to the right people, sales will feel effortless because your messaging is doing the heavy lifting for you. Does that make sense? And so, as you can see here, she was like, dude, it's changed my life being able to do this. And, she couldn't even come up with the words, right? But point is, messaging is key. And I'm not going to, at the risk of belaboring this, I really want you to get this, because this is what's going to help you succeed with getting more of the right people and getting more inbound leads. Is you could post content and DM people all freaking day, my friend, but without the right messaging, you'll never have a steady flow of clients, at least from my experience. Because if you say the wrong words, it's going to make your message unclear. And most coaches think the real reason they can't keep sales on their calendar is that they need a better lead gen strategy. It's what I hear all day. It's like somebody is trying to lose weight. It's like, I just need a better diet. No, you don't need a better diet. You need to fix your freaking calories. You need to stop putting crap in your mouth. You need to dial in your calories. You need to do some strength training. That's what I'm telling to you right now. It's not about new lead gen strategies. Everything freaking works, right? It's about dialing in the messaging so that you're saying the right words in the right way to the right people. Does that make sense? It's like, this is one of my favorite movies as a kid, Rush Hour, where Chris Tucker says to Jackie Chan, "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" He's like, "No." Your audience is saying no. It's like going over to China and you speak English and you're trying to order food in in English. They're going to look at you dumbfounded and you're going to be frustrated, right? And so don't be speaking English when your audience speaks Chinese. You got to speak the right language. All right. So the old way of doing content versus the better way. And then we're going to dive into the full-blown strategy, tactics, all of that stuff. So hopefully this is helpful so far. I'm hoping that this has been insightful, that you're having some ahas, some epiphanies. Because the old way, we'll even say 2023, I felt like this was still working pretty good. And by all means, everything works, but it's the extent of how well does it work, right? And so let's just say when COVID was happening and everybody was coming online, you could just post a lot of short form content, randomly post content. You didn't have to have a real system. Just DM a bunch of people, maybe give them a free PDF or a lead magnet or something like that. Then book them on a call. And it's very much outbound. This is why all these business coaches would say DM 50 to 100 people a day, because you didn't have to have a lot of skill. You just needed to put a lot of volume up. But the better way, now that the market's more sophisticated because there's so many people online doing what you're doing, is you want to have a content ecosystem. You want to have a world that you're bringing people in, right? This is how the best brands are built. You want to use a strategic content distribution system, and I'm going to show you exactly how. You want to drive your audience to long form content, or what you can call conversion events. And again, I'm going to show you how. This makes it very much inbound, right? So let's go in. And so this is the full client attraction system. We're going to hyper focus on content, but if you're getting the wrong engagement or you're not getting enough inbound leads, you want to fix your messaging. And we have a process, and I'm going to show you a little bit on our magic messaging process, but we're going to spend time here because most of you are probably not getting enough consistent inbound leads. And that's what the strategic content system will help fix. And then if your revenue's unpredictable, like you're just not converting new clients predictably, a lot of times if you put the right value first conversion system to where you're hosting workshops or providing some type of value up front, and you have a conversion mechanism on the back end, it's going to help you convert predictably. And I want you to pay attention to the word system, right? System is what makes things consistent and predictable. A lot of people don't have the right system. That's why they're not converting, right? So that's what we're going to be diving into. All right. So let's go ahead and go into how to get more inbound leads from your content. First, what is an inbound lead? Let's define it. Webster says, a prospect who initiates contact with you through a specific marketing channel. This could include social media posts, YouTube videos, or referrals from existing customers. Inbound leads are, and this is not Webster, this is now Jason, inbound leads are the bee's knees because they cost less time and money to acquire. So if you want more quality inbound leads, pay close attention to what I'm about to share. So the first thing that we want to do, I might need to zoom in here, is there's a strategy that I learned called the content triad. Now, I have been inadvertently using this strategy for about 3 years, and I finally figured out because I had a buddy of mine that was doing this exact same strategy for the most part, and I was just like, damn, I'm doing that too. And then I finally figured out how to make it into a system that worked for me. And so I know there's a lot going on here, so just kind of follow along with my little red marker here. And so we're going to have what's called, I call it your tribe funnel. This might be your Facebook, an Instagram, a LinkedIn page. These are typically top of funnel platforms, right? It's easy to grow on these platforms. We can find, new friends on Facebook. We can get new followers on Instagram. You can get new connections on LinkedIn. It's an easier way to get new traffic into your world so that you can build your tribe, your community of people that resonate with you and that you can serve. And on this platform, you're going to post content. We'll call it your content cadence, and you're going to run what we call conversion content campaigns. And we're going to go into those in just a second, right? And so that's the top of funnel, right? So we could say TF. I can't write with this, okay? And then what I've been doing for years is a YouTube/podcast, right? So we pair this with YouTube. And so YouTube is an amazing platform to nurture your audience. And so nurture means to care for and encourage the development of. And so these like top of funnel platforms are hard to go deep with people because it has things like, you could do live trainings, and we'll talk more about that in a second. It's still very short form or medium form content driven. Even like the long form written posts are still kind of medium form, right? And so YouTube allows you to go deeper with your audience, and even podcasts, because they're typically the behavior on YouTube or somebody listening to a podcast, they'll listen to a longer episode. Does that make sense? They'll watch a longer video on these platforms because that's what the behavior of the platform, the people that go to these platforms do. And so having YouTube, and we'll go into cadence on how many times I post and stuff in a second. And then I've been using email since my gym days. This has been one of our main tools for a very long time. You pair this with email as well. And so email, as you can see, these are middle of funnel. This is middle of funnel. So we got one top of funnel where most of your main content is going. And then we're having like one or two YouTube videos that we're posting on our stories, that we promote on our social media, that we drive our top of funnel people to, so we can go deeper with them. We can build more trust with them. We can really nurture and, help them develop. This is what creates buyers, right? And then our email list, we control this. We don't have to worry about Mark Zuckerberg. We don't have to worry about an algorithm. We control what happens here. And so the email list is always going to be your highest converter. And typically what we do is we make offers every single day. So we're just pretty much taking our content, like our best content from our top of funnel, and we're promoting it in email. And then we just pair a call to action to it, right? And then we have like strategic trainings and stuff that we'll promote via email so we can help build more trust with our audience. And then when we have a YouTube video released, we send that YouTube video out via email, right? We're promoting the YouTube video. So you see, this is like for at least us, this is like the pinnacle is email. So these are the three kind of main channels that we're using. And as you can see, it's very strategic. And our goal here is to constantly build the list. And we do that with lead magnets, right? So we use lead magnets on top of funnel, and we use lead magnets on YouTube in the description. And we're constantly building our list, which helps build this up, right? So we're going to go into some examples, but hopefully that makes sense. Now, the way it kind of looks if we throw it on its side is we want to get traffic, right? And we're not going to go too much into traffic today, but there's different ways to get traffic. You can use organic means like hanging out in Facebook groups and friend requesting people or going to networking events. You can do, you can use other people's platforms by doing podcast guesting, interview swaps, things like that. You can also do paid, right? You could boost your posts. You can run traditional ads. And our goal is to always get people into a lead magnet. This is the content that we want them to consume. And the lead magnet has to be really good. Most people have crappy lead magnets that don't convert. There is a way, and this is something that we teach inside of our Client Attraction Academy. This is what we teach people how to do, right? Create these really good lead magnets. One of the things, right? And this is when people are typically cold. This starts to warm them up, and then they move over to this category, right? To the warm category. And this is where our regular content cadence on our social channel we're going to be going into is our content campaigns start to warm them up. And then once they're warm, they move over into hot. And this is where we have our value first conversion system, and we have a conversion asset, right? Like a strategic training or a mini video sales letter or some kind of paid trial or workshop or something that they can jump into, which we'll dive more to in just a second. Does that make sense? This is how you get them hot. And on the back end of this, they are paying you money and they are joining your programs. So let's go ahead and go into more of like the content system, if you will. I was looking for the right words. So step one is the right messaging. We talked about this a little bit, right? Saying the right words in the right way. Then once we are confident with our messaging and we know it's working, and you'll know when your messaging is on point because people are literally reaching out to you. You're getting more of the right engagement from your stuff. Then we plug that into the right content, right? And so I know this looks kind of small, We have a process called the magic messaging framework, and these are some of the ingredients. This is a framework that we give to all of our students. We have a whole process called the magic messaging framework, and it's what we walk our clients through to help them get really, really clear on their messaging. And then we have copywriting frameworks that I invented that help them plug their messaging into content, right? So we have these section content matrix that we show them how to plug it in. But well, that's a whole nother training for a whole nother day. And I'll give you some opportunities to be able to get access and get help with that here in just a minute. But for now, just understand that you got to get clear on a lot of these things in your messaging, these different ingredients. You got to get clear on how you're going to influence people. And then we plug all of that stuff into content, right? And so there's these 4 different buckets of content. The first one is connection. This is going to help attract more people to you, right? This is going to attract people because it's very emotionally driven. This is where you're maybe doing content to where you're standing up for what you believe in. Maybe you're standing against something. You're standing for something. This might be content to where you're showing your lifestyle more, right? What you do for fun, right? You might have just questions or just general entertainment, things that are going to connect with people. Then you're going to have influence content. Influence content, this is going to help convert people because you're shifting the way they think. You're shifting their perspectives, like Napoleon Hill says, right? I don't know if he says this verbatim, but this is what I remember from Think and Grow Rich. It's like what we believe about ourselves creates an identity, right? So those beliefs create thoughts. Those thoughts create emotions, feelings. Those feelings cause us to take action or inaction. And those inactions or actions give us a certain result, right? And so in our content, we want to be able to shift their perspectives of what people are commonly thinking. What are their false beliefs? What are the actions they're taking that aren't working? And we want to shift it through our personal stories or client stories, through what I call belief shifting post. We have what's called short punchy post, right? And that's influence type content where we're shifting commonly held misconceptions or mistakes that people are making. And then there is authority content. This again is going to attract people to you. And this is where you're sharing more thought leadership stuff, like more how-to, common teaching type stuff, right? This is a very authority piece of content. You might show social proof. So you could show people hey, I know what I'm doing. I can get results, and it gives people hope. You could do AMAs, ask me anything, right? These are different authority type content. And then we have conversion content, which of course converts based on the name. These are where you're doing call to action driven posts, or we call them hand raisers, like CTAs, where you're putting out direct or indirect call to actions. These might be live trainings, workshops, masterclasses, things like that. You might directly put out your offer to people, like your main core offer, right? So those are the 4 types of content that we want to plug our messaging into. Then step 2 is we want to have the right posting pattern, right? We want to post your content in a way that connects with people, that captivates, that gets their attention, and that converts them into motivated buyers. And the way we do that is through the ecosystem. So we already went through this, right? You have your main funnel, you have a long form channel, and then you have simple email. And so here's how my cadence on how I go about it. I don't always post every day on Facebook, but just to kind of give you I stay diverse between the different kinds of content. Typically posting in my stories about 3 to 5 times a day. And our most successful clients will follow a very similar process. I send emails out every day now, but I didn't start that way. This is the way I started. I would just promote one of my good posts, right? Then maybe I would promote this. It would be a case study or social proof post, right? And then on Fridays, I typically will do a video, so a YouTube video. So I want to promote that video here. And if I did another video, I want to promote that video. Maybe if I already did a post that day, I would promote that video another day, right? But that's kind of how we use email, is we're just sending our best content to people. Does that make sense? These days I do email every day, but it's because email has become my main platform. These are just some examples of some of the posts that I've done. This is a connection post, me with my daughter. This is an authority post of me showing how Kurt just hit $30,000 in his fitness business. This is a call to action based post, right? A conversion piece of content. This is a short punchy post, right? That's me helping to shift somebody's perspective in a very short punchy way. This would be an example of a live training that I've hosted. This would be like a YouTube video. Oh no, wait. This is me promoting a YouTube video on my Facebook. This is an actual YouTube video, right? So you can just kind of see how some of them look. Then step 3 is the right content campaigns. So this is the secret to predictability. So everything up there, like again, when you plug your messaging into the right content, you're going to instantly start getting better results. But if you want to make it consistent and predictable, this is where these campaigns come into play. So we want to use strategic content campaigns to build demand for long form content like live trainings, workshops, challenges, etc. These I call conversion content campaigns. So this is kind of how it would look, right? And let me zoom out just a little bit here. So you would have a strategic post. And I know I have days here. The days don't necessarily matter. We have like 21 or 22 different conversion content campaigns that have been tested in multiple different niches and freaking crush, especially in the health fitness space is where we had, hundreds and hundreds of people use them. But so don't pay attention to the days per se, but you want to have some kind of trigger post, a starting point. Right, so we'd have like a strategic like call to action post, and I'll show you some examples in just a minute. And then we'd have another post. Sometimes they can be 2 to 3 posts before you have what we would call like your conversion event. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 posts. Typically, I like to have 5 to 7 days to promote the live training or the masterclass or the workshop. Right, so not necessarily 5 to 7 posts, but 5 to 7 days is a good amount of time. And what happens when you do this is you start to build up a list of people that are showing intent, right? So you have a nurture list of people that you can nurture, right? This gives you more inbound quality people to DM, right? Now you can have much more meaningful conversations. Like I find that our clients that are crushing it, they're only having like 6 to 10 conversations a day, and they're booking like half of them onto calls, right? And then you can have a call. Some of our clients don't even do calls anymore. Like I don't do many calls. Some of them are just closing through the DMs or closing on workshops. And then you create a sale, right? It's pretty simple. So the more dialed in this stuff is, the easier it is to create sales. This is where the predictability comes from, right? So here's an exact example of one, right? We had what we call a hand raiser that looks like this, right? It was like a post like this on Facebook. You can use these on Instagram. We've used it like this on Instagram before as well. But we had this go out on a Wednesday, and then we did like what's called a build hype post on a Monday. We did a social proof post with a CTA to our workshop on a Tuesday, and then we held the live workshop. We did a 2-part live workshop on Wednesday, and then we did another one on Thursday. Right. And so the whole goal, the messaging for this is literally to get people bought into these workshops. That's it. And in the workshops, you can have a call to action to where you're closing people. Now, we do have a whole process called T-shaped workshops, and that's how you effectively promote a workshop, come up with the right topics, of course, come up with a really good hook and presentation and call to action so that you can actually close people on the workshops. Otherwise, you just it becomes kind of pointless if you're doing these things but not converting. And so here's the flow. I don't like to do these every week. I typically do them every 2 weeks. And so for us, it might look something like we might promote a live training or a workshop. Sometimes we'll do a low ticket workshop for like $47 to $200. Sometimes we'll do free. And then maybe another week promoting like an ebook or a cheat sheet or a checklist or an SOP or something like that. Another week it might be like a live training. Like I'm probably going to promote this video right now to give this to people. And so I'll be like, hey, I just did a 30 something minute live training. Does anybody, training? Does anybody want it? We'll often promote our core offer. Like we'll do this every 4 to 6 weeks. We'll open up the doors to our core offer and let people in, and then we close it and we have a wait list. And then we'll have, maybe we'll do like a live series, where you maybe do a series of live trainings or workshops, right? And so we always cycle through the different cadences. So I wanted to give you some examples, right? Like these are typically, let me move this out of the way. These are typically like our trigger posts on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, you could carousels or like just kind of like the Twitter style posts work really well. And we'll also use different kind of long form pieces of content, right? Like we might do a post where we're trying to shift people's beliefs, social proof post with CTAs, build hype post. And if you want to see examples of all of these, I'm going to give you an opportunity here in just a minute to be able to download or get a free download of our um, like a content. And I'll give you this. If you want this presentation, just let me know. I do have a lot of different examples that we're not going to go into for the sake of time. And then after that, all you want to do is you want to do a weekly debrief of your content, especially around the campaigns. So you can start to look at the numbers. How many people attended your trainings, right? How many comments have you been getting? Quality comments, right? How many quality conversations are you having? How many calls? How many closes? Whatever your sales. And all we want to do is like what? Here's where most people go wrong. Not necessarily wrong, but this is why most people struggle, is they're just all over the place. There's no system, there's no strategy. They're just like flailing like Ricky Bobby in the wind, like running around butt naked or whatever. It's like, once you have a system and strategy in place, it's like, you want to dial it in. It's like if you go to the gym and you're just like working out for like a couple weeks and you're like, man, I don't see like maximum changes in my body. It's like, dude, you got to like go heavier in your weight, slow your sets down, right? Like slow the repetitions down. You got to dial in your nutrition, right? It's the same thing when it comes to strategy. It's like, we got to dial this stuff in. This is what actually makes it work. Getting the copywriting better, getting the marketing better, getting more traffic in, right? Getting, figuring out how to come up with better hooks and call to actions. This is the secret to make this stuff work, right? So if you want to see an example content calendar, like I'll give you access to all of this stuff. I don't care. You can have the content calendar. You can have this swipe file where I give a bunch of different examples of these posts that we just talked about, most of them at least. So just let me know. Maybe I'll try to include this somewhere, but just shoot me a message and just say content goodies. Just say content goodies. I don't know what you mean. Okay. And so recap. Client attraction system. Here's a quick recap, and I'm going to show you some steps that you could. First, we talked about the number one truth, which is messaging is key. If you want more inbound quality people engaging with you, more quality inbound leads, if you want to book more calls, close more clients, it's all about dialing in your messaging, saying the right words in the right way to the right people, right? More content or DMs don't guarantee success. Dialing in your messaging and having the right content system does. So we talked about misaligned messaging is the real problem. Step one for you is to dial in your messaging, right? You want to be able to say the right words in the right way to the right people at the right time. Your messaging should be clear, specific, and designed to resonate deeply with your ideal clients. And how I teach it in here is like we create a narrative, like we create a storyline to where we're literally bringing people through this entire story, right? So that's absolutely key. And then you want to have the right posting pattern. So this is where you want to plug it into the right strategic content distribution system or strategic content ecosystem. So this is where you have a content cadence, strategic, right? Where you're plugging this in and it's going to connect, captivate, and convert people when you do it right. Then you're going to post your content that pulls your audience in naturally, leads them to engage with you. And then you want to have the right content campaigns, right? This is what's going to help build demand for strategic content so you can promote live trainings, workshops, and challenges, okay? And you can model some of the things that I have here. You want to make sure you get this content triad system in place. What I would say is if like you're under, 15K a month, honestly, like just start focusing on like your main, like we want to start optimizing your main channel and just start using email. You could do a lot of long form content on your main channel via live trainings and stuff like that. But as soon as you got like a good grip on here, I would highly recommend you introducing YouTube. Honestly, this is how like I'll do YouTube a lot of times. I pull up my phone, even though I have a fancy camera and I don't care. Like I just literally grab it, put it on cinematic mode. I'll go outside or I'll do it right here. I'll record a video, I'll upload it to YouTube. I'll go into ChatGPT. I'll take the transcript and I'll say, hey, could you come up with a couple cool titles for YouTube for me? And it'll come up with some titles. I go into YouTube. I just use the thumbnails that they have a lot of times. That's how I did it for a while. Now I have an editor who can help come up with thumbnails and stuff like that, but it's really easy to get started. Conversion assets, make sure you have a really good lead magnet that has your dialed in messaging in it and have a strategic training, like a mini VSL or some kind of strategic training that's going to help give immense value and build trust. You can model this one. Like I'm hoping this training has been immensely valuable and it's building trust with you. That's my goal. And so you can model like something like this, right? This is a bit longer, to be honest. I tried to keep this around like 20 minutes. I could be kind of long winded. It's a gift and a curse. So I would try to keep your training around 15 minutes max. And if you apply these steps, you will be able to consistently attract the right leads and convert them into high paying clients. Like we've seen it time and time again. We worked with over 200 people. And so from here, you have two options. Option one is I'm hoping that I gave you enough clarity today that you could take some of this and do it on your own, right? That's fine. Option two is if you want me to give you a client attraction blueprint for free to where hopefully, well, I'm not going to pull up anybody's stuff because I wouldn't be right. But what we do is we get onto a call and I open up a Google Doc with your name on it. I have you submit I have you give me some information on your business. So I go into it already knowing like your offers, your price points, your platforms that you're on, all that stuff. And then from there, literally we get onto a Zoom session together and I will help you map out an entire client attraction blueprint. Constraints, like your business is unique and I want to give you as much value as possible. So if you want me to help, I do have typically every week, I have around 5 spots to create these blueprints. They go pretty fast. So I usually have 5 a week unless I have something else going on like a training or a workshop. So if you want me to show you the back end of how all the systems, strategy, and processes work and how it can work for your business. And so with this call, as I was alluding to, I will show you and I will create you a step-by-step game plan to generate 20 to 30K per month. This is for people that are typically around 5 to 15K per month. That's kind of where you're stuck, right? If you're just getting started, I can give you some advice, but this system's going to really help you if you're like kind of stuck in that like 5 to 15K per month range. We're going to look at what that number one constraint is, whether it's messaging or lack of strategy. And I'm going to show you the systems and strategy you need in place to overcome that constraint. Then I'm going to show you how to identify the next 2 to 3 future constraints that will happen. So for example, if we fix your messaging, right, there's going to be constraints that are going to probably happen with the content or the lead nurture. And I'm going to show you how to be able to overcome those constraints and what to do when you face them. And then I'm going to give you clarity on your messaging, because that's key, the content strategy, and how I would advise you to scale if I was running your business. And I'll give you an exclusive behind the scenes of our client attraction system, even more than today, so you can see how it might look in your business. And then from there, you can either take the blueprint and implement the systems and strategy by yourself. See if we vibe and you want help, we can see if we're a good fit to work together. And if we are, we will install our entire, this says organic growth system as our old system. Our client attraction system is the new updated system to refine your messaging and install all of the stuff that we just went over today directly into your business. So worst case, you leave with a clear game plan to become a true in-demand coach, scale your coaching business to hopefully $20,000, $30,000 per month and maybe even beyond, and just use the game plan on your own. Best case, we find a mutual fit. We install the client attraction system into your business. We refine your messaging and install your strategic content system and the value first conversion system. And I help handhold you because this is all one-to-one to help you get past 20 to 30K per month in the next 4 to 6 months. Okay. Again, this is a one-to-one program. This isn't like a group program where I'm throwing you into a bunch of modules. This is a one-to-one partnership that we're getting into. So there's absolutely no risk for you. But I do only have 5 spots because I'm running a business and we've got clients to serve and I've got a family. So if you want to get into one of the 5 spots, this will likely be one of the last times that I'm going to be taking these calls just because it's a lot on my schedule. So I might have an advisor or somebody that's going to take them over. So if you want it with me, it's going to probably be a good opportunity for you to do that. Okay. And so you can go right here to this link. You could scan this barcode right here, and that'll take you right over to the call. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work and you are interested in this, just shoot me over that you want to get onto a client attraction blueprint call, and I'll send you over the information to get started. All right. And some social proof. You could see that other people have gone through it. There you go. But I could probably go for days and days and days, but yeah. So if you're interested, go apply right now. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know. Again, I hope that this training was immensely valuable for you. And if there's any questions about implementation or how this would look or, anything that wasn't covered, please let me know. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you grow. And remember this, your message matters. Your story matters. now more than it ever has before. Man, people are out there depressed, they're stressed, they're eating too much, they're drinking too much, they're living life well below their full potential. But you, as a coach, you have a message inside of you that can help impact and change lives, and it can help make you very, very successful and wealthy as well if you do it right. So don't be afraid to speak it. As always, be seen, be heard, and be impactful.